Now, like all content creators, I can be prone to a little bit of hyperbole, but I think I'm being completely legit when I say this card is fucking insane. This is Boseiju who endures. It's a legendary land from the latest Magic the Gathering set, Kamigawa Bubblegum Robots. Boseiju was a card from original Kamigawa that has seen competitive play in the past that made your spells uncounterable, so I guess it's only fair that when Boseiju returns with a spell-like effect on it, it's also pretty much uncounterable. It taps for green, it is legendary, and it enters the battlefield untapped, making the floor for this card very low. But it also has a channel ability, a returning mechanic from original Kamigawa. In the case of Boseiju, you can pay 2 mana, discard it, and get an effect. The effect is that it destroys one artifact, enchantment, or land, and the opponent gets to go search for a land with a basic land type. Bearing in mind, that's not just search for a basic land, that's any land with a basic land type. So duels, shocks, triomes, and your random things that have forest or island on them, like Mystic Sanctuary. This effect will also cost 1 less, going down to a singular green mana if you control a legendary creature. This will be largely flavor text for many decks, but it might end up seeing a small amount of relevancy. At first glance, this card is comparable to both Ghost Quarter and Assassin's Trophy, but honestly, in many situations, it's going to be better than both. Firstly, to explain effects on lands like this and how they factor into deck building, it's basically a free spell in one of your land slots. Honestly, I think this might just be an absolute auto-include, and I mean that very literally without exaggeration, an auto-include in any green commander deck. The flaw, or worst case scenario, is that you have an untapped green source to play, and 1 less fetchable green source in your mana base for your fetch lands and cards like that, depending on how you have constructed your deck and what you've cut to play this. The ceiling for this card, on the other hand, is huge, making it a land that can also just deal with so many problem permanents in Commander. If you're playing Life from the Loam or Ramunap Excavator or any other form of recursion effect that can play this or put it back in hand, this goes from a 90% sure it's not include to absolutely certain. This card is a Commander staple for the rest of time. Beyond Commander, my first thought was that playing this as a 2-4 in green-white Death and Dax is a deck that I've played a ton of on the channel, where it helps with the Ghost Quarter plan of allowing you to abuse Leon and Arbiter to strip out your opponent's mana base, as they can't search for stuff if they can't pay. I think this is probably cute and not necessarily the best, most competitive thing to be doing in Modern right now, especially as Leon and Arbiter still dies to Fury, a card that really grinds my gears. The fact this also hits artifacts and enchantments is insane, giving it so much upside over another Ghost Quarter from hand effect, and I'll be trying this alongside both Loam and Cat, or some combination of both in Modern in time. But like I said, my initial idea is cute, not necessarily good. There are far better places for this, where this card really pushes certain decks. Amulet Titan in Modern now has access main deck, and I think this will be main deck played, not sideboard, main deck to a land that is also a spell effect that can kill a Blood Moon, for example, or other problem permanents. It is searchable off of a map, it is searchable off of other cards like Sylvan Scrying or Primeval Titan, it's bounceable back to hand with Randlicker bounce lands when there's not a Blood Moon in play. There's all these situations where you can put this into hand or into play and bounce it back to your hand to give you an answer to many, many problem permanents. As I said, it's mappable. Expedition Map can go and find this, meaning it's a toolbox card that can be a one-of in green variants of Tron, to allow it to have a main deck answer to anything from dampening spheres and alpine moons and blood moons to just other things like artifact creatures and similar. And then we have legacy decks that are primarily combo decks, like Storm. They already splash green a lot of the time for cards like Abrupt Decay and Assassin's Trophy, and now you can have a main boardable green source that blows up chalices, trinospheres, and other similar effects that hamper control decks. And keep that in mind that whilst it is a main deckable untapped green source, it's not fetchable. So you'd still have to fetch up bios to be able to activate this, but of course in Legacy we've got Ponder, Preordain, and Brainstorm. So if you have some number of this main deck, you're going to be able to find one in the mid game to get out from underneath a lock piece. Although you're going to struggle casting them into Chalice. Importantly, I mentioned Trinosphere. This card doesn't care about Trinosphere, nor does it get countered by a Chalice on 2 because it's not a spell. It is also uncountable to any other cards, Dazes, Force of Will, straight up counter spell, and it also can't be hit by any sort of hand attack because it's a land. So you can't even Thoughtseize or Inquisition it out of hand ahead of playing your disruption piece or permanent that you don't want blown up. This is a resilient and uncounterable utility card with minimal downside that is one of the more shootable effects in the game. This card is really fucking good. Then we have Legacy Lands and Loam variants as well. Legacy Lands for a while now has invited you to play Blood Moon with the recent Blood Moon changes, because if you have a Dark Depths in play and you blow up Blood Moon, you just get a 20/20 because it entered with no counters on it. More so now than it ever did before, because as long as they fetch you Forest early and have a Loam, a very, very easy scenario to end up in, they can dredge looking for both the Dark Depths itself and this toolbox land that they can cast. Oh, and beyond that as well, in some circumstances there may be an ensnaring budge in play. I've won many a game against lands by ensnaring budging and then not being able to hit with their Merit Lage. With Merit Lage in play, this is a 1 mana answer to ensnaring bridge. This is of course part of a cycle. We've officially only seen the red one, but with leaks as well we've seen the black and the white one, and so far it's the best of the cycle. Short of the blue one doing some Mystic Sanctuary level bullshit, I think this is going to be the best card in the cycle. And honestly, it might just be the best card in the set. I know we've only had day 1 spoilers right now, we've still got half the set or more to go. I think it's probably comparable as a card to Prismatic Ending, in the sense that it won't get banned at any point or even be talked about as a potential banning by players, because it's rare that players talk about oppressive answers or utility cards, and they more get angry about either oppressive threats or on rare occasion casual crowds, things like Thoughtseize, hand attack spells. This is an answer, a toolbox card, a utility card that serves to significantly improve the ability of linear and combo-centric decks to fight through hate. And this will go largely unnoticed as it ticks up the percentage win rates and percentage metagame shares of those decks. Probably the 3rd best land printed in the last 5 years, just shortly behind Field of the Dead, which has been banned in many formats, and Mystic Sanctuary, a card that pisses me off. This card is insane. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Let me know down in the comment section what you think. Am I over-exaggerating this, or do you also see this card as being really, really good? An obvious include in many decks across many formats. I'd love to hear what you think in the comment section below. I've been Vince, smash that like button, don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you all soon. Ta-ta for now.